Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Florida.
Last night, left-handers were on the menu. And boy, were they ever good. Mark Buehrle for Miami. Gio Gonzalez for Washington. They traded strikeouts and zeros right from the start. The Marlins got on the board using a little El Caballo, a dose of Bonifacio, and a timely buckshot. A 2-1 win for the Fish. Today, another All-Star, another premium arm. Steven Strasburg hits the scene in Miami. It's Marlins and Nationals.
A Sunday in Miami. There are some clouds around, but there's sunshine. Oh, yeah, sunshine. In Marlins Park, Hyundai brings you Sunday baseball. The first place Washington Nationals and the Miami Marlins. Great matchup. Steven Strasburg, Ricky Nolasco. This series tied at a game apiece. After a nail-biter last night, the Marlins a 2-1 win. 4-game series. Today would be Game 3. We would be Rich Waltz along with Jeff Conine. Welcome to Miami. Last night you knew it with Gio Gonzalez and Mark Buehrle on the mound. Both teams had to do the little things right to win the ball game. And you get a sense that with Strasburg on the mound and a red-hot Ricky Nolasco, Marlins will have to do the little things like they did last night.
Well, I think the whole Nationals pitching staff, they're going to have to do the little things. And last night we saw a perfect example of what these little things are. In the fourth inning, you have Omar Infante here, sacrifice bunt. Jose Reyes gets over to second base. El Caballo, the big Carlos Lee, comes up in an RBI situation for only the second time so far since his stint with the Marlins. Comes through big with a base hit to right center field, scoring Jose Reyes.
While the Nationals answered they would score a run, on to the fifth inning, and the Marlins still had to scratch out another.
And Emilio Bonifacio leads off with a bunt hit over the right side. Outstanding job by Donovan Solano, gets him over. Here we are again, very next inning. Curious decision for me then to pitch to John Buck with Mark Buehrle on deck, but he made him pay. Gio Gonzalez makes it a mistake over the middle of the plate, and he gets an RBI single.
And, of course, Steve Cishek will get a 5-out save to nail it down for the Fish. The starting matchup in this one. You go back to the last 3 starts for both starters. First with Ricky Nolasco, with a little more lower body into his delivery, a few more miles an hour on his fastball. He's been dynamite.
Well, since giving up 9 earned runs in the Boston Red Sox series, he's been 2-0 since then with a .92 ERA. You see only the 2 earned runs given up against Philadelphia, and pitching outstanding. And you mentioned that velocity now in the low 90s instead of the high 80s.
With Steven Strasburg, the print will tell you he's lost 3 straight, but he hasn't been horrible in those 3 starts.
No, he hasn't. You see the start at Atlanta, I think it was a heat issue. He did not have a good start, 4 walks in just 3 innings pitched. But you see the other 2 starts, winnable games by Strasburg, all accounts. But the 0-3 record is the first time in his career he's lost 3 straight starts.
Marlins winners last night. Nationals got Game 1. Who gets Game 3? You do. It's right around the corner.
field. Craig Minervini, Preston Wilson.
Hey, thank you very much, Rich, and good afternoon again, everybody. It's Major League Baseball Star Wars initiative. Well, more of that coming up during the game with Preston Wilson. One of the big stories for the Marlins certainly last night was Steve Cishek. You heard Ozzie Guillen say after Heath Bell blew that save in the final game before the All-Star break that he's going to match up, and he did last night, and thanks to Steve Cishek, it looked pretty good.
Cishek came out and did just what Ozzie, I think, wanted him and expected him to do. He came out and was really hard on the righties, got the comeback there from Zimmerman. But more so than that, you saw him in attack mode. He used all of his pitches. I mean, right there, that ball breaks across the plate to the outside corner. Mike Morse had no chance on that ball. This was probably the worst pitch of the night right there, but in this ballpark, it works in your favor because it's a long out, and then he just starts painting. I mean, when you start getting pitches like that, right-handed batters are pretty much tipping their hat to you before the ball gets to the catcher.
He had to go through their best hitters there, the meat of the lineup, starting off with Zimmerman, their power bats. LaRoche went to the wall, wound up striking out Flores. He even had to overcome a bang-bang call at second base where if you didn't have Foxmo, it was hard to tell whether Bernardino was out or safe. The Foxmo proved that he was out, but he wound up stealing second. So great job, 5 outs, 28 pitches. But Ozzie says today he should still be available.
It's interesting because he did throw 28 pitches last night, so you kind of wondered if Ozzie was going to give him the day off, being that it's a day game after a night game. But I guess Ozzie feels like he didn't work him too hard, and I think if he does go in today, it will be in a shorter form of the save situation.
The Marlins will hope to get that opportunity, certainly going against Steven Strasburg, trying to keep it close. It's a terrific pitching matchup. Should be fun to watch. Ricky Nolasco, Steven Strasburg coming at you. Rich and Jeff Conine in. We'll call it for you next.
Brought to you by the Hyundai Fuel Efficiency Drive Sales Event. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. And by Blue Bell Creameries. Try our newest flavor, Strawberry Summer Pie. Marlins Park, roof closed, rolling windows shut, AC's on. Ricky Nolasco ready to go to work. The Nationals and the Marlins in Game 3 of a 4-game set. First game went to the Nationals. Marlins 2-1 winners last night. You see Nolasco's overall numbers. 18th start. He is 8-6, and he has been splendid his last 3 times out. Pinch a penny brings you the first pitch. Nolasco catches the corner and gets a strike on Steve Lombardozzi, who is at second base. Danny Espinosa is at short. Ian Desmond not in the lineup. for the ball game this afternoon. A breaking ball, shot out to Reyes at short, and Jose whips it across to Carlos Lee. Here's Davey Johnson's lineup. The Nationals, of course, the best record in the National League at 50-35. Bryce Harper follows Lombardozzi. Ryan Zimmerman at third. Adam LaRoche moves up into that cleanup spot. Michael Morse is in left. Danny Espinosa at short. Roger Bernardina in center. Jonathan Solano, who's done so well as the backup catcher for the Nationals. And Steven Strasburg's having a very good year with the bat. He'll hit ninth. Here's Bryce Harper. Harper had an 8-game hit streak snap last night on an 0 for 3. He's 1 for 8 in the series. And then Nolasco turns and fires. Nolasco against these Nationals, Jeff Conine, very good. 14 career starts, 9-3, but an ERA at 3.97.
Which is about half a run under his career ERA, and you just wonder with Ricky Nolasco today, what other records is he going to break? Marlin team records. He's eating them all up right now. Last start, he got the most quality starts by a Marlins pitcher and most innings pitched, eclipsing both of Dontrelle Willis's records.
A lot of Nationals have a lot of at-bats against Nolasco. Harper is not among them. This is his first at-bat against Ricky. Flips that one out behind third. Hanley trots back, and he makes the catch. So 2 outs for Nolasco. Jeff Conine, the defense for the Marlins, brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
Logan Morrison, Amelia Bonifacio, Greg Dobbs out in the outfield. Ramirez, Reyes, Infante, Lee, and the battery mates of Ricky Nolasco and John Buck.
Here's Ryan Zimmerman. Zimmerman has had a busy series. He doubled last night. He's got 4 hits. He's done some damage. His home run, the 2-run shot on Friday night, was the big blow as the Nationals got rolling and won the ball game 5-1.
Extending his record, personal record, more home runs against the Marlins than any other franchise. That was his 15th on Friday night.
He's the guy that's done the most damage against Nolasco. 33 at bats. You can see it. 3 homers, a 273 average. Good sign that Nolasco's fastball comes in at 91.
91, like you said, Randy Sinclair has been working with Ricky to try to incorporate that lower body into his mechanics, into his delivery, which is increasing his arm speed a little bit and adding a couple miles an hour. And, you know, an 88-mile-an-hour fastball compared to a 91 is a big difference.
And a nice changeup working off that 91-mile-an-hour fastball, a 10-mile-an-hour differential, and a 1-2 count. It's the same talk that St. Clair had with the guy we saw here last night, Javier Vasquez, last year. And once Javi got his lower body into his delivery, man, he was lights out last year.
Boy, I tell you what, after that conversation, Javi Vasquez was the best pitcher in the National League for the remaining 2/3 of that season last year.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. That fastball runs out. And it's 2-2. Last night, a terrific matchup. We've talked about Mark Buehrle with his 7 strikeouts, Gio Gonzalez with his 9. We'll see what kind of game we have here today with Nolasco and Steven Strasburg. 2-2 coming from Ricky. Fastball threw it by him. Ricky Nolasco, a 1-2-3 first, as the Marlins and the Nationals are underway in Miami. For Ozzie Guillen and the Marlins, right now 3 games under at 42 and 45. Reyes in the leadoff spot. Omar Infante hitting second. Carlos Lee will hit third. Logan Morrison back in the lineup. Hits cleanup. Hanley Ramirez at third base. Greg Dobbs gets a start in right field. Justin Ruggiano gets a rare ball game off against the right-hander Strasburg. Bonifacio slides down into the 7th spot. Buck right behind him. And Ricky Nolasco hits 9th. And there's Steven Strasburg.
Wow. Everybody's always looking forward to watching this guy pitch. And, I was just thinking, watching him warm up, he reminds me a little bit of who we had here when I was with the team in an A.J. Burnett. Extremely smooth delivery, and the ball just jumps out of his hand. I remember A.J. with that delivery he had. First pitch of the game was usually 97, 98 miles an hour. And with great mechanics, he was able to sustain that velocity through the entire game.
Well, you would admit that Strasburg is A.J. Burnett with a lot more control.
Well, yeah, I will definitely give you that. Same type stuff, though.
Yes, 128 strikeouts, but just 28 walks in 17 starts. And he delivers ball 1 to Jose Reyes with Infante and Lee to follow. A strike from Strasburg. Reyes 2 for 7 in this series. Marlins really seem in the last 2 ball games, and maybe it's the return of Bonifacio, but really seem to have the running game back in gear. Whether that rubs off on Reyes or Ruggiano, who had 3 stolen bases in game 1, we'll find out. But Bonifacio last night with a stolen base in a key situation.
And that's going to be key for the Marlins, is to keep on running. This is not a ball club, especially with Giancarlo Stanton out of the lineup, that is going to be able to give you that late inning big home run to take a lead. They're going to have to manufacture runs, and to do that, they're going to have to run.
Strasburg atop the strikeout list. You look at Ozzie Guillen. Right behind him now, 127 strikeouts, is Gio Gonzalez, tied with, of all people, R.A. Dickey at 127.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? Dickey and Gonzalez at 127, Strasburg at 128, and Reyes with a 3-2 count.
Very rare for a knuckleballer. A knuckleball is very difficult to hit, don't get me wrong. I had probably the worst batting average against Tim Wakefield, a knuckleballer.
Strasburg gets it on top, flips it to LaRoche.
But they usually don't get that many strikeouts. You're able to make contact with the ball, just not very solidly. R.A. Dickey is getting a lot of swings and misses with his knuckleball, probably because it's about 10 miles an hour faster than most other knuckleballs that are thrown.
Now Infante, Omar in the 2 spot with Lee behind him. Morrison's hitting cleanup in this ball game. And Infante climbs in against Strasburg. The fastball runs outside. The Marlins have seen Strasburg. He's made 5 starts in his career and is 2-1 with a slender 2.22 ERA. Infante cracks one down the right field line. Over for it is Harper, and he makes the catch in foul territory. So 2 outs, and here's the defense brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
We'll see Michael Morrison left field, Bernardina, Bryce Harper just made that catch in right. Zimmerman, Espinoza, Lombardosi, LaRoche, and of course Steven Strasburg on the mound, and Jonathan Solano. Didn't you tell me the other day that someone called Donatan?
It's tough. The Solano brothers are here, reunited again. Donovan got the start in left field for the Marlins last night. Jonathan, the backup catcher, is behind the plate. The Nationals say that he's kind of like a junior Pudge. We had Pudge Rodriguez on the telecast last night. A lot of energy. Not real tall, very strong, very thickly built. Strasburg bends one there for a strike, and it's 0-2. And the parents who came in for their ball game, the historic ball game here in Miami about a month and a half ago, are in Columbia and probably watching tonight. So hi to everybody in Columbia that's pulling for it. I expect Mom has the Nationals jersey on and Dad has the Marlins jersey on. That's how they did it in that series. They rotated every night. Carlos Lee, you see his season numbers. Last night, for just the 2nd time, he was in an RBI situation, and he delivered with a line drive to right center. So the Marlins, Jeff Conine, need Carlos Lee to drive in runs, but for him to do that, they got to get runners in scoring position first.
Yeah, he's got to have opportunities and able to drive in, to be able to drive in runs. And you know, this guy's a force in the middle of this lineup. He's got a reputation. I was talking to him before the game, and you know what? He said, it's my reputation that doesn't give me many opportunities.
And he swings at a ball in the dirt. Strasburg has a clean 1-2-3. First scoreless ball game in Miami. Thanks to the folks at H.H. Gregg. Marlins Park, scoreless ball game. Coventry second inning. Ricky Nolasco and Steven Strasburg. Adam LaRoche, Michael Morse, and Danny Espinoza for the Nationals. A little bit of a different look for the Nationals in that Ian Desmond's not in the lineup. Desmond has been bothered by an oblique. Remember, he missed the All-Star game, but available to pinch hit. LaRoche strokes one to center. That's Bonifacio out there. And Emilio, in his third game back, makes the catch. So an out here in the second. Hey, you've got a chance to play catch with Logan Morrison, and you don't have to be Emilio Bonifacio to do it. Just enter the play catch with Logan Morrison sweepstakes. 2 lucky winners will be selected to play catch on the field with Lomo prior to the game on July 27th. Jiffy Lube, the official oil change of the Miami Marlins. JiffyLubeCatch.com. Here is Michael Morse, local product, Fort Lauderdale, Nova High School.
Missed the majority of the season. As you see, he's only played 35 games this year. Had an outstanding breakthrough year last year. Over 100 RBIs, hit over 300.
Smacks it to center. Bonifacio there, and he makes a running catch. It's one of the things Bonifacio does quite well as a converted infielder is charge the ball, whether it's on the ground or in the air.
Most outfielders, especially when they go from infield to outfield, this is their strength. They will be able to come in on the ball much better than they do going back on the ball. And with his closing speed, he can cover a lot of ground in a very short period of time.
So allowed out number 2, and here's Espinoza.
And we were talking about how, you know, the return of Bonifacio solidifying that center field position. There's been quite a revolving door of players out there. Now that he's back, Ozzie can concentrate on switching out his left and right fielders a little bit and not even have to worry about center.
And on a day like this, he can give Ruggiano a day off, choosing to sit him against a tough righty. Last night against a tough lefty, he chose to sit Logan Morrison out. Good breaking ball from Nolasco, came a long way, and Espinoza not real pleased, and it's 0-2. Sometimes when you commit to bunt, you're thinking fastball, and watch the break on this thing.
He thought it was a little bit low, I'm sure, because he looked back at the spot where it ended up, but that is not the true strike zone.
Yeah, the Fox tracks. The true strike zone is at the front of the plate. Where is the ball when it crosses the front of the plate? Is it at the knees then? Is it at the letters then? Or on either side of the plate? Last night, Eric Cooper, who was behind the plate, had a terrific night on balls and strikes. There was really only one borderline call that was outside the box that he called a strike. Here's the 1-2. Nolasco got the glove down and flips to first. And Rickey has a pair of 1, 2, 3 innings to open up this ball game in Miami.
Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
In Miami, Marlins and Nationals. This would be game 3. The Nationals, of course, the first place team in the East, the best record in the National League, though their lead was slim to 3. The red-hot Atlanta Braves, a comeback win last night. The Braves have won 6 in a row. They're 3 back. The Marlins with a win last night are within 9 games of a Nationals team that has been clicking from the very start. Logan Morrison against Steven Strasburg. A fastball misses in. Morrison, like many of the Marlins, had their heads shaved last night. A big cancer awareness drive. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Morrison slices it into left field. That's a base hit. So Morrison has a hit. There's a lot of youngsters in the crowd happy for that, because before the ball game, a Logan Morrison toothbrush holder, and guess who was passing him out at the gates of Marlins Park? That would be Lomo. In fact, he's throwing it to the fan. I like that. That's a really nice touch. Whenever a player has a bobblehead or a giveaway, that Marlin player will be out before the ball game, greeting the fans and giving some of the fans those giveaways.
Yeah, it's a great touch. I saw Emilio Bonifacio giving away his giveaway item.
His T-shirt.
Heath Bell was out there. You know, it's JJ on Bobblehead Day was giving out his bobbleheads. You know, when the fans come up and see, you know, their heroes, they're guys on their team actually participating in their giveaway nights. It's a nice bonus for them.
Now Hanley Ramirez, he takes a fastball from Strasburg, and it's 1-1. Ramirez against Strasburg. He is 2 for 7. No Marlin has homered, at least no Marlin in uniform in this ball game has homered against Strasburg. He's given up just 8 this year, and this is start number 18. Lomo not a real threat to run. Solano has to knock that one down, and it's 2-1. The Marlins have talked about getting Hanley Ramirez going, and in the absence of Giancarlo Stanton, that becomes a much more glaring issue.
Yes, it's a must situation right now. The offense has to pick it up. You know, you look at the ranks of the Marlins at the All-Star break, lows in franchise history as far as average runnings and scoring position. Even some of the lean years in 1998, right after the breakup of the 97 team, the team lost 103 games. They had a better team batting average than this one does.
And this is a team that has, and Tommy Hutton pointed it out, Tommy will be back on Tuesday, that going into the All-Star break, this is a team that had well into the 20s in terms of All-Star appearances. So up and down the lineup, there are guys that have produced, can produce, but have yet to really get going this year. Morrison's at first. 2-2 shuffles Hanley's feet. Now the count's 3-2, and you've got Strasburg, who has been all over on this at bat. Morrison's at first. Greg Dobbs is on deck.
You also have the best strikeout pitcher in the National League on the mound, so it'll be interesting to see if Ozzie sends Logan Morrison here.
He's running. 3-2 pitch. Hanley hammers it right field. That ball's deep, and it's caught. Harper got there. Morrison retreats, and he gets back. Just avoids the tag of LaRoche. Great play by Bryce Harper. Morrison back to first. There's one out. Hanley hit it hard.
And you could hear Hanley's frustration there. He yelled a little bit. And that's just the way it's going right now for both Hanley and the Marlins. You're hitting the ball right on the screws exactly the way you're wanting to, and you got nothing to show for it.
Good hustle by Morrison, who actually had a pretty good jump on the initial pitch. He was well past second base by the time Harper ran it down.
And I think everybody, including me, thought that ball was going to be in the gap. Bryce Harper did a good job of closing the gap and running that ball down. And a good throw would have gotten Logan Morrison at first base and doubled him off.
Now Dobbs, who gets this start in right field, takes a fastball for a strike. Greg Dobbs, a real solid year. Certainly one of the premier pinch hitters in the game. He's delivered 6 pinch hits, including a home run and 5 RBIs. But as a spot starter, he has contributed as well. Breaks his bat, and that's going to fall for a base hit. So you hit a ball on the screws into right center, and it's caught by Harper. But Dobbs has a bat explode and dumps it into center for a base hit.
And they all even out. Yeah, right. I'm here to tell you, as a card-carrying member, that they do not even out. Greg Dobbs has did a great job of getting the barrel on the ball. I mean, he kind of cut it off the end a little bit, but hey, it's all about placement.
And so now here's Bonifacio in his 3rd game back. And he faces Strasburg. You've got Morrison at second, Dobbs at first. Strasburg has been opening everybody with 95, 94, 96 with fastballs. It's one thing to sit and look first pitch fastball, but with Strasburg, you're going to get it, but you still might not be able to hit it.
Yeah, his mechanics are impeccable. I mean, the way his balance is after he delivers the ball. You see a lot of big right-handers will be falling all over the place. He's got a slight overstep, but it's really a pretty good compact mechanics.
Ball and a strike. Bonifacio over for it is Bernardina. He covers a lot of ground there. Morrison tags, and he'll hold at second base. What's the scouting report on Steven Strasburg?
Heat, heat, and more heat. Oh, look at that. Big-time heat. Slider, I don't know if you'd call it a slider. I think it's a big curveball. And we saw him throw a phenomenal changeup to strike out Carlos Lee. And you get 3+ pitches like that, and you're going 95 to 100 miles an hour, you're something special. So with the Marlins, got their work cut out for them, but this scouting report has been brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida.
Nicely done. Here is John Buck. You saw also that 160 innings. That's been a point of discussion. Coming off the Tommy John surgery, the Nationals have said they want to monitor Strasburg. That 160 or 170 plateau has been out in the press, though Mike Rizzo has said he will monitor the situation as it goes. Strasburg has said they'll have to pry the ball out of my hands if they get to October and into the postseason.
Well, from what you've read about his coach, Tony Gwynn, expounding on how this kid's makeup is to get the ball and get out there and pitch, I could see that happening, that he does not want to come out of these games. And I heard a report the other day that if you go by the 160 inning mark, that would come September 5th. And for a first place team, or obviously a team that's going to be contending for a postseason berth, how do you consider taking away your best pitcher with a month to go in the season?
Yeah, I think it makes more sense with what Mike Rizzo said, in that they're monitoring the situation rather than say here's a hard cap.
And I think they're monitoring so far as well. He's got 18 starts, and only 6 of those he's gone over the 100 pitch plateau.
Yeah, they've done a nice job of, I don't want to say milking him, but easing him into and monitoring his workload. Strasburg had his Tommy John surgery in September of 2010. He made 6 minor league starts last year, 5 starts with the Nationals. Of course, the first overall pick in 2009. The Nationals have done a terrific job of nailing those first overall picks. I mean, it sounds like a layup, but in this game, it isn't always. You don't always get a Bryce Harper or a Steven Strasburg. And so far, those two, though they are young in their big league careers, look like they could be future superstars.
Impact players for a long period of time. And like you said, you go back over the years and just look at first round picks of all the teams, there really aren't that many standout players. There might be some good major league players, but when you're looking at true superstars, there are very few and far between.
That ball pops away from Solano. Morrison to third, Dobbs to second. Now first base is open, and Ricky Nolasco is on deck. Remember last night in a similar situation, the Nationals went after John Buck and he hurt him with a single to right. Strasburg now, Niner, can try to make the perfect pitch.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's probably would be that curveball or that changeup, which is excellent changeup.
3-2 coming. It's the curveball, and it's a little tapper up the line, and it's a foul ball. So Buck is thinking maybe expand the zone and try to drive the runs in. But if he draws a walk, at the very least he turns the lineup over, and the Marlins won't have to lead off with Nolasco in the third.
Which is important. And you saw, I think, the extra break he tried to put on that curveball right there. That was much bigger than some of the others we've seen him throw so far this game.
That's why hitting 8th in the National League is not an easy deal.
It is the most difficult position to hit. Thank goodness I never, I'm not going to say got to hit there, but had to hit there.
Swing and a miss. And Strasburg strikes him out. Still scoreless in Miami. Heroes as we go. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Hey, Rich, thank you very much. Could this be a playoff year for Washington? They've got the best record in the National League. It has been a while for baseball fans. Probably not too many remember. Way back in 1933, the last time a Washington Major League franchise made the postseason. Of course, that was the World Series. They won the pennant, and they played against the New York Giants. My dad's team, he was 12 then. They won 4-1 to the Giants. Look at player manager Joe Cronin. He was their shortstop. He had a big year for them. He hit .309, knocked in 118 runs, and managed the club. Alvin Crowder won 24 games as well for them. And Cronin wound up second in MVP voting. That was the last pennant in the existence of Washington baseball in the major leagues. We'll see. They certainly seem like they've got the pieces with offense and defense, and of course that great pitching leading the way. We'll see. A lot of baseball to go.
All right, good stuff. Thank you, Craig. Ricky Nolasco, Roger Bernardina trying to bunt, fouls it off. And Jeff Conine, I would expect there are some old Expos that are watching this Washington team with a little bit of pride. You know, the former Expo ball clubs that were so good, got to the postseason, but never got to the World Series. Bernardina fouls it back to the screen.
They had, I mean, arguably some of the best talent come out of Montreal. When you look at some of those players and teams they had in the mid-90s, of course, the strike-shortened year of 1994, they were leading the National League East by a pretty good margin. That would have been an easy playoff berth for them there, and probably one of the greatest teams they ever had.
Nolasco misses outside the counts 1-2. I like the fact that in Washington they have also, with the retired numbers of Washington greats, honored the Expos and not really buried the Expo history, but celebrated. We saw that emotional ceremony, I believe it was a couple years ago, with Andre Dawson at Nationals Park. 2-2 coming. And it misses outside to Bernardina, speedy outfielder. Curacao is where Bernardina is from. He's now 28. And he knows it. I mean, Bernardina was in the Expos organization. This is his 11th year in the Expos Nationals organization. And he fouls that one back. He was actually signed by the Expos Academy in the Netherlands. He was born in Curacao, but raised in the Netherlands. Rick Vandenherk also signed by an academy over there, a Marlins signee. 3-2.
When I was with the Orioles, I played with more than one, actually 3 guys from Aruba. Sidney Ponson and Calvin Maduro and Kingsley, all players from Aruba.
One of the bright young stars tragically was killed, Greg Hallman, a Seattle Mariner outfielder. And that was a big blow to baseball fans over the Netherlands, but that's certainly a very growing sport over there, and with the islands and Curacao, Aruba. They had a great run in the World Baseball Classic in 2009, and that's right around the corner in 13. Bernardina pops that one. Hanley getting to the wall and reaches and makes the catch. Nicely done.
Good concentration here by Hanley. You know, I haven't heard too many guys complain or say that the roof bothers them at all on fly balls, and I've been out there myself tracking balls down, and you can pretty much take your eye off the ball and find it pretty easily with this roof. And Hanley does a good job there pushing that fan out of the way and keeping his eye on the ball.
Marlins did a lot of research and work on the color of the roof, the gray, the gunmetal gray, just to make sure that it wouldn't be a bother to fly balls and pop-ups.
I tell you what, there are some domes that you play in that you cannot take your eye off the ball. Minnesota obviously was the most famous one, the Metrodome. if you took your eye off the ball. Even if you didn't take your eye off the ball, you could lose it in that roof.
Jonathan Solano almost hits the roof. I don't know that we've seen that yet, but it will happen. A ball will hit something on that roof.
You think so?
I think so. In all of the retractable roof ballparks, there is a point where if a guy, and it's a lot of times it's in foul territory. Here's the 0-2. Breaking ball misses in because the lowest point of the roof is right along the first base line in foul territory. If the ball hits the roof in foul territory, it's dead. If it hits the roof in fair territory, it's a live ball. But the chance of that happening, very slim. The chance of hitting a Ricky Nolasco changeup like that is slim as well.
Very slim.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Here is Steven Strasburg, and look at the year he's having at the plate.
Decent, I would say. 360.
Yeah, 9 for 25. And he takes a strike, including a home run and 4 doubles.
Very impressive.
Yeah, so he's
last
doing
10 games hit 467.
I know his head coach in college was Tony Gwynn, so maybe some of Tony Gwynn has rubbed off on Steven Strasburg.
Well, I think a lot of times these young pitchers that come up from college that did do some hitting in college are pretty good hitters for their first few years in the major leagues, but as they get away from seeing live game pitching very often, I think their hitting skills decline a bit.
I think that's what happened to Tim Hudson right out of the gate going into the American League, because he was an All-American as a hitter as well at Auburn. No swing, and Nolasco goes 3-1 on Strasburg.
You talk about an All-American, one of the best players in the country as a hitter, and now when you watch Tim Hudson hit, there's not much left of that All-American.
And Nolasco walks him. So the first blip for Nolasco, a walk with 2 outs to Steven Strasburg, and here comes Lombardozzi. This season, Fox Sports is proud to support the Boys and Girls Club of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports.
The first mark on Ricky Nolasco's otherwise perfect game, a walk to the pitcher.
Here's Steve Lombardozzi. And Ricky's changeup. Now, second time through for the Nationals. Lombardozzi bounced out back in the first. Nolasco has a pair of strikeouts to go with the 1 walk. Breaking ball line to center. Bonifacio has it, and Nolasco through 3 has been outstanding. Second matchup of the Solano brothers, and when Jonathan, the Nationals catcher, got called up for the Marlins series, Donovan had been in the big leagues for a week. Only the 12th and 13th Colombian players ever in the big leagues. Mom and Dad were here. Dad had the Nationals jersey on. Mom had the Marlins. They swapped the next night. And these two guys have been solid. Both managers talk about what they've been able to bring. Donovan, versatility, execution. Jonathan, the same behind the plate. And they have stuck in the big leagues. Both of them come in with averages over 300 to start this series. Donovan on the bench today. Jonathan getting a start and a chance to catch Steven Strasburg.
Well, you remember spring training this year, Donovan Solano was probably the Marlins' best hitter. And it was a major decision whether or not to keep him on the team. And you know, even though he deservedly earned that spot, they went with Donovan or Donnie Murphy instead, and sent Donovan down to New Orleans. And since then they've flip-flopped, and Donovan's been here since.
Of course, Wilson Ramos was going to get the bulk of the catching duties for the Nationals, but he injured his knee early in the season. Here's Nolasco now, and he leads it off. Nolasco walked Strasburg. We'll see how Strasburg does against Nolasco. There's the 1-0. And that's up. And isn't it? It's that you talk to pitchers, and the hardest time against an opposing pitcher, when you know you just have to throw a strike, that's not easy to do. I mean, it's the 3-foot putt, it's the free throw.
It's that gimme. I think it's a lapse in concentration when you know that all of a sudden you don't have to make that perfect pitch to get a guy out, so you're just kind of relaxed and trying to get over the middle of the plate. And it's like you said, that thing's 18 inches wide and you're standing 60 feet away. It's not that easy to do.
Here's the 2-2. Just missed, and the count runs full at 3-2. Now Strasburg has thrown all fastballs, so Ricky, who can swing the bat, he'll run into one every now and then.
He will come out of his shoes right here if it's in the strike zone.
Boy, he got started early, and he lines it into right field. Harper picks it up. Nolasco has himself a base hit.
You saw it. He was definitely going to make a play at first base. He thought about it. He came in. He was playing shallow anyway, and I think he would have had a good shot at him, but he couldn't quite get the transfer. Ends up bobbling the ball and no shot at him.
That's every pitcher's nightmare. A line drive to right, and the right fielder throws you out. I think Ricky's a good enough athlete.
You see, Ricky knows that he's in there pretty tight, and he does not want to be one of those guys that gets thrown out from the outfield.
Now Reyes with Nolasco at first. And Strasburg throws a strike. It's 0-1. And this game is shaping up much like last night, where a play here or there, a run here or there could be the difference. It was for Miami in a 2-1 win. Jose Reyes is hitting at .264. He was the batting champ last year at .337. What do you see that's different? Reyes 2012, Reyes 2011.
Well, I think for me it's an aggressiveness that early on, when he was coming into Miami as the most coveted free agent on the free agent market, you've got all the hoopla surrounding that, the new city, the new colors, the new stadium, the new uniforms. And I think he just put too much pressure on himself and kind of dug himself into a hole. And when you do that as a hitter, you know, just can't snap your fingers and come out of it. It's stuff that you've been trying to do that you have to undo to get back to where you were before. And I think now he's starting to get back to his former self. He really hasn't got on that big tear yet that we're going to see him do, and hopefully he'll lead this team into the second half.
He was on that breaking ball, and he punches it into right field. And Miami now with runners first and second. Here comes Infante.
Just that quick, very compact, abbreviated swing that Jose Reyes is known for, and I think he's kind of gotten away from that. It was a little bit longer swing early in the season, but now you've seen him shorten that thing up a little bit And he does everything like that. He throws quick like that. He runs quick like that. He's got a great bat speed like that.
Well, here's an interesting spot. You've got Infante with Carlos Lee on deck. If Infante's bunting, Nolasco is the lead runner at second. He's not, and he takes outside. Always puts a little more pressure when you don't have great speed at second if you are trying to lay down the bunt. Infante didn't show it on the first pitch, and it's 1-0. A ball and a strike, and it looked like he was trying to drop down a bunt more for a hit than anything.
Yeah, I think he's trying to surprise the defense a little bit, giving Ricky Nolasco a little extra time to get to third. On this play right here, a sacrifice bunt, you really want that third baseman to field the ball and have to come in and vacate the third base position so your runner can get safely to third.
Strasburg does fall off the mound a bit to the first base side, so if you can get it down the third base line, chances are Zimmerman's going to be the guy that has to field it. They're holding Nolasco at second. Infante fouls it back, and so now the count's 1-2. Two strikeouts for Strasburg, 130 on the season. That's tops in the National League.
Just ahead of teammate Gio Gonzalez at 127.
Let's see when Infante gets 1-2. Breaking ball that misses out. Now Infante doesn't walk a whole lot. He's walked just 10 times this year. As you pointed out last night, he's a guy that is a contact guy. When he swings at a ball, generally he puts it in play. Two. Changeup, and he struck him out. That changeup for Strasburg, as you pointed out, has been a very effective pitch.
Very effective pick. Look at the bottom drop out on this thing, and it's a changeup velocity of 88 to 91 miles an hour. And I think there's a lot of guys in the National League that wish their fastball would run like that at 88 to 91. So 3+ pitches. You can't really sit on one pitch from Strasburg, because if you do, he's got two others that are equally as good.
Carlos Lee taking a rip at the first pitch. Marlins unable to move runners up, and now Lee with first and second and one out.
Now has his third opportunity since he's been here, and now his 6th or 7th game to drive in a runner from second base.
Ground ball up the middle into center field, base hit. Nolasco will be sent. Bernardina up with it. He airmails the throw. It goes to the screen. And the Marlins are going to end up with the bases loaded. Joe Espada was sending Ricky, then put the stop sign up. Bernardina bounced it off the screen, and the Fish end up with the bags loaded. And Logan Morrison coming up.
Bernardina's got an excellent throwing arm. Carlos Lee comes through again with the men in scoring position, but you see he just launches it right here. Unfortunately, you know, Joe Espada gets way down that line. He knows the release point here. If it's a decent throw, he knows if it's a decent throw, he's going to be probably out, but he gives him the break sign about right here.
And so now Morrison, bags loaded. Infield looking for 2. And Strasburg gets a strike on the outside corner. Changeup.
You know, hopefully Logan Morrison will come through right here, and that will hurt the Marlins. I think Ozzie Guillen has probably conveyed the thoughts to Joe Espada that we're pretty lean on runs. I want you to be ultra aggressive over there and try to get as many as you can. But with the pitcher running, Nolasco didn't get a great break off second base. And with only one out, I think he thought that we'll just take our chances.
And Nolasco's at third, Reyes at second, Carlos Lee at first. The 1-1 to Logan Morrison. Well, that's just heat, 96, and he threw it by him.
Early on, we saw Strasburg's radar gun numbers were absurd. He was hitting 100, 101 quite often. You see him pitching more at 95, 96 now with better control. But you wonder in situations like this if he can rear back and give you that 100 when he wants to. That's a devastating pitch to a hitter that's used to seeing 95.
Right down the middle. And Morrison strikes out. And here comes Hanley Ramirez. And so Strasburg has a pair of strikeouts in and amongst the 3 singles. Boy, that's right there.
I don't know.
Fox Tracks.
Logan looked as if it was a really bad call or something. It was on the plate.
The best ball that the Marlins have hit against Steven Strasburg today was off the bat of Hanley Ramirez. It was a liner into the gap in right center that was caught on the run by Bryce Harper. And Hanley pulls a pitch foul. A great opportunity. First and second and nobody out. And then bases loaded, 1 out. And now Hanley Ramirez behind in the count, 0-1 to Steven Strasburg. Marlins and Nationals. This is game 3. Mark Burley and Gio Gonzalez put on a terrific show last night with Steve Cishek getting a 5-out save. And now Hanley is behind in the count, 0-2.
We were talking in the pregame about how the Marlins are really, it's necessary, critical that they get these little things done. And if they come out of this situation with no runs, that's a big blow, especially against a guy like Strasburg. If you can get him on the ropes at any time, you need to take advantage of that.
0-2 in the dirt, and Solano had to sell out to knock it down. It's 1-2.
That 88-mile-an-hour changeup in the dirt, trying to put a little extra drop on it. Threw it about 52 feet.
Outfield playing Hanley towards that right center gap. Strasburg ready. His 1-2. Changeup missed in. That's been a devastating pitch for him in this ball game. That changeup, and that one, pitch number 4, just missed. You got to tip your cap to Marty Foster, the home plate umpire.
Yeah, we've seen some good game calling both last night and tonight. Some of the pitches we saw last night on the outside corner from those 2 lefties were, I mean, splitting that outside corner.
And now Strasburg, who was out in front 0-2, has gone 3-2. And he misses again with off speed, so you would think now bags loaded, full count. He reared back when he needed it against Morrison and brought 96.
Well, Hanley's done a great job. I think he's ultra aggressive early in the counts and has made bad swings on pitches, but he learns from that and starts taking those pitches later in the at-bat. We'll see what he gets right here.
Runners on the move. 3-2 coming. Hanley, a sharp ground ball. Zimmerman's got it across the diamond. Just in time. LaRoche keeps his toe on the bag. And Strasburg wiggles out of it. Still scoreless in Miami. run. As we get to the fourth, brought to you by Cleveland Clinic, Florida. AT&T trivia time. We flipped the phone. Jeff Conine put on the spot. Who hit the Marlins' first grand slam in a home game? And put on the spot because Jeff Conine was in uniform for that first season. First grand slam in a home game. Jeff is not answering, which indicates that it might be Jeff.
I was drinking water. I'm sorry. What did you say? I heard trivia, and that was about it.
And grand slam. Ozzy's upset about something, and he's coming out to talk to the home plate umpire, Marty Foster. And Ozzy's having words for either Bryce Harper or for someone in the Nationals dugout. I'm not sure what that was about. Here comes Foster back to the plate. But Ozzy obviously was upset at something, and I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah, I think Bryce Harper did something going into the box there that Ozzy didn't care for.
There's a breaking ball from Nolasco, Harper, Ryan Zimmerman, and Adam LaRoche. And tough to see from that. And that's obviously one of those things where you... And here comes Ozzy. Marty Foster again approaching the Marlins dugout with a 1-1 count on Bryce Harper. And Harper hits a ground ball out towards second. Infante flips to first in time. And Nolasco has the first out of the fourth inning. Jeff, that's one of those things that you probably won't learn until after the ball game when you talk to the Marlins clubhouse and then the Nationals clubhouse.
Yeah, he apparently did something walking up to the plate or that Ozzy saw and didn't like, and Marty Foster finally said, that's enough. If you keep on going, I'm going to get rid of you.
Now, remember Ozzie Guillen about 2 innings ago came out and had a discussion with Marty Foster. It was not animated. It was not angry. But it was a discussion on the field. All right, here's Harper coming in the box. Now, Ozzy apparently does not like the pre-at-bat routine of Bryce Harper. At least that's from watching that video. That's what I get from it. You have another read?
I think there's something happened before we saw that, because from what I saw right there, just what he did in the box didn't look like it was inflammatory in any way. I think he might have done something on the way to the plate, and I think, the old school guys like Ozzie Guillen, and we saw Cole Hamels hit Bryce Harper the first pitch of the first time he saw him, are going to be a little bit, I don't know, old school on him and say, listen, rookie, you should not be seen, you should not be heard, just play the game. And he's been doing that very well from everyone that I've talked to. Yeah, I don't know if he looked at Ozzy and did that, or that was definitely the move that set Ozzy off, because you saw him mocking with his own bat in the dugout.
As it is, Nolasco has kept his cool and has the first 2 outs of the fourth inning. He's 2-2 on Adam LaRoche. And a breaking ball is fouled back to the screen. Well, we said it in game one. We talked about it last night. Most old school guys like the way Harper plays. They like his hustle. They like his moxie.
And the few Nationals that I've talked to that I've asked specifically about him, so he's great in the clubhouse. He respects the game, respects its history.
Hey guys, one thing he told us the other day when we asked him about Bryce Harper is Ozzie Guillen told us that whoever taught Bryce Harper how to play taught him the right way. And what you're echoing, Niner, that he appreciates the hard-nosed type style. Although I agree with both of you, I think he took some issue with the bat gesture that Harper had coming into the plate.
Yeah, and I think when we get the air tomorrow night, we'll probably have a little clearer idea of what transpired. The guy that was caught in the middle was Marty Foster, the home plate umpire. Here's the 3-2 pitch. In the air, shallow left. Morrison comes charging in, and he makes the catch. And Nolasco goes 1-2-3 through the Nationals in the fourth in a scoreless game in Miami. Papa John's. Right now at Papa John's, buy any large pizza, even specialties for only $12. By Nissan. Get to Nissan for the biggest savings under the sun at Nissan Summer Saving Days. Visit ChooseNissan.com and by 5-Hour Energy. 5-Hour Energy fixes tired fast. For a scoreless game, there's a lot going on here in the bottom of the fourth in Miami, Marlins Park. Another exchange between innings between Marty Foster, the home plate umpire, and Ozzie Guillen, the Marlins manager. At issue seems to be Bryce Harper and him coming to the plate.
Yeah, he pointed his bat, I think, toward the Marlins dugout and might have looked Ozzie's way, and I don't know what that gesture meant. But Ozzie took exception to it and was very close to getting tossed out of this game.
Greg Dobbs now pulls a ground ball Adam LaRoche's way, and he steps on the bag. Trivia answer time. My partner was silent when first we asked the question. Brought to you, of course, by AT&T, who hit the Marlins' first grand slam in a home game. Orestes Destrade?
I'm not going to say anything.
All right, flip the phone. Jeff Conine against David Need.
That was actually my first career home run.
Really? A grand slam?
Yep.
The archives of that game apparently damaged by some natural
cause. There was a flood at then Joe Robbie Stadium.
And the footage does not exist. We've seen footage of your first game as a Marlin. Well, you're 4 for 4.
4 for 4, sporting the great Kazoo helmets.
The big teal top. Here's the 1-1. Bonifacio pulls it foul. There have been a lot of questions from fans on email nights and Twitter nights about the Marlins doing a throwback uniform night. And, you know, I think the prevailing thought is give it a year or two. Give a year or two for the new uniforms and the new look to sink in. And then maybe you'll see a throwback uniform night.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it's just not very far removed. We were just wearing those uniforms last year. I say maybe go back to the vests. We used to wear the vest with the black undershirts.
I've been told you still wear yours around the house.
Well,
without the undershirt.
Mrs. Conine likes a man in uniform.
I'll bet she does. The gun show at 7 a.m. Here's the 1-2. Check swing. He may have gone. That was close. But Eric Cooper said no swing. We've seen Strasburg get out in front of guys 0-2 and then have trouble throwing strikes. Nope.
No, he did not.
John Buck's on deck. Strasburg's 2-2 to Bonifacio. Sharp ground ball into right center. That might be 2. Bonifacio around first. Little stumble, but he's going to get there. Man, is he quick.
That is just fun to watch. I'm telling you, folks, he had double on his mind all the way, right out of the box. If that outfielder has to go more than a few steps either way into the gap, he almost falls down on his face and still beats it out easily. Could have stood up. See here, the sniper almost got him.
Bernardina was shading him to left center, and Bonifacio never hesitated. Marlins have another runner in scoring position, but again, they end up with the bottom of their order up. You've got John Buck and then Nolasco on deck. So this is a big at bat for Buck. Drives that ball to center, hits it pretty well. Bernardina goes back, dives, makes the catch. Bonifacio tags, and he'll have to hold second. Great play by Bernardina, who robs Buck of extra bases and the Marlins of a run.
I'm almost to the thing here where Bonifacio tags on this play and takes off. He might even end up scoring. But he goes halfway thinking he's going to miss it. But even if he misses it from there, he's going to score anyway. I think he goes back and tags. And I saw Deion Sanders actually score on a sac fly when he was on second base. Puts a charge in this, and Bonnie thinks he might. Indecisive. And by the time he goes all the way back, it's too late.
Even if he was another 5 feet closer to the bag, he probably could have gotten back and then gotten to third, but he was too far off the bag. His momentum was in the balance. And so as it is, the Marlins have Nolasco up. And Ricky takes a rip at a fastball, and it's 0-1. So here are the Marlins with 6 hits off of Steven Strasburg. They had 2 runners aboard in the second. Bases loaded in the third. A runner at second with 1 out here in the fourth, but they have nothing to show for it.
I think that's where Bonifacio in the 7th spot has got to come up with that mindset that he might need to be a little more aggressive on plays like that, knowing that the pitcher spot is coming up after John Buck.
Nolasco to right field. Harper is there, and he makes the catch. And the inning ends still scoreless. We'll be back after this sports injury prevention message from the Cleveland Clinic, Florida. The first 5-out save for the Fish since Kevin Gray back in 2008. This is the Marlins count on Steve Cishek. You can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results. Subway fifth. You can see Ricky Nolasco has been outstanding. The Marlins, though, have been unable to get him a run against Steven Strasburg. Only a walk. That's the blemish for Nolasco through 4 innings. Speaking of Steve Cishek, Ozzie Guillen, when asked before the ballgame what the status was on Cishek to close this game, said, we'll have to wait and see. He feels that Cishek can throw, but as Preston Wilson pointed out on Marlins Live, it would be in a much shorter spot. But Heath Bell did not even get up and warm up last night. Mike Dunn was up had Cishek faltered in the 9th. Michael Morse, Danny Espinosa, Roger Bernardina, and a big breaking ball from Nolasco for a strike.
Cishek threw 28 pitches last night, and you know he's fresh coming off the All-Star break, but still, if you're going to be counting on him late in the game in that closer role, you don't want to get him fatigued and blown out early in the second half.
Here's the 0-1, and it's outside. He was a little bit under the weather this morning. Again, felt that that possibly could clear up by the time the game got to the 8th or the 9th. And this game feels an awful lot like last night. Two pitchers who know what they're doing it well. And Nolasco gives up his first hit. The single by Michael Morse went out and got a breaking ball. Second base runner for Washington. You've got Espinosa and Bernardina coming up. Good to see Morse back. A guy that bided his time, waited for an opportunity with the White Sox, with the Seattle Mariners, and gets an opportunity in Washington and has blossomed.
Tell you what's a big man. Carlos Lee is a big man, and he's looking down at Carlos Lee.
Morse is 30 now. And here is Espinosa. Espinosa, another one of those high draft picks by the Nationals that has been able to get to the big leagues. He was a 3rd-round pick in 2008 and one of the many Long Beach State infielders in the big leagues. A long line of shortstops. Fastball for a strike. Troy Tulowitzki, Evan Longoria, Bobby Crosby, the most notable, and now Espinosa.
Pretty good rookie campaign, power-wise, especially from second baseman. 29 doubles, 21 home runs, 5 triples.
Brings a bunt with him down the first base line, and it's a foul ball.
Has struggled a little bit average-wise. 236 last year, 232 this year.
You see it with young players, especially guys in their first full season in the big leagues. You talked about his home runs, 21. He had 16 of them in the first half.
Had 18 home runs twice in the minor league, so been pretty consistent with his power numbers.
Nobody out in the 5th. Pulls a ground ball. Lee has it, turns, fires out there. Reyes' return, not in time. Well, the Marlins at least got the out they couldn't get last night, and that's the throw from Lee to Reyes at second. This time Lee put a little more on the throw.
A little bit more on it and got rid of it quickly. I think if it didn't handcuff him right there, they definitely would have had that double play. Took a kind of a wicked hop at the end. He had a great defensive play coming up with that ball and then gave a good strong throw. You see Morris didn't do what Desmond did yesterday. He just kind of stayed in that right side of the base running alley. If he would have moved over a little bit, he might have gotten hit as well.
Well, I think two things were different on that play. as Bernardina stands in. Number one, I don't think Reyes gave away the location as early as he did yesterday. And the other thing, you and I talked about this before the ballgame, Lee put something on the throw.
Yeah, yesterday's throw kind of flipped it over there a little bit and didn't really put a whole lot on it.
Bernardina popped out back in the third. Hanley on the infield grass. And a strike. Bernardina, good bunter. Very speedy guy. Long look at former Marlin coach, now the third base coach for the Nationals, Bo Porter. The Marlins win last night shaved a game off of the Nationals lead over the Marlins. And as we told you, Atlanta's comeback now has the Braves 3 games back, the Mets 5.5 back, and the Phillies, who snapped their losing streak, 14 back.
Well, the Braves have kind of been a Jekyll and Hyde team as well. Just won 6 in a row after faltering.
I'll tell you, the guy that has really been a boost to them is Jair Jurgens, who struggled early, went down to AAA, and since he's come back, he's been the Jurgens of old, which isn't that old. He's a young pitcher, but they were counting on him to be an anchor and a solid contributor in that rotation.
How about Craig Kimbrell? 27th save last night.
Ball and a strike. Espinosa at first. Not a big lead. Ricky still goes over there. Espinosa, a good base stealer, though. He's got 14 and has been caught just 4 times. One. And it's out. And it's 2-1. Our Toyota trend, deepest into a season, 88 games that the Marlins have gone and used just the 5 starting pitchers. Here's the 2-1. Runner goes. Hit and run. Grounder up the middle. Infante diving stop on his feet. Got him. Out at first. Bang, bang play. Davey Johnson's on his way out. And the Marlins may have caught a break. Terrific play by Infante to stop the ball. And we'll watch again and see.
Omar Infante makes a fantastic play. I think the Marlins.
Well, that was, for the naked eye, because he was leaning, Lee was, it looked like he beat it. But you watch that replay.
He did beat it. Yeah.
And it was bang, bang. So Miami gets a break. Bernardina is the second out, though Espinosa is in scoring position. And here is Jonathan Solano. And the Marlins are going to walk Solano, but remember, Strasburg has had a pretty accomplished year at the plate.
I tallied up his numbers there, Rich. 360 batting average, 407 on base, 640 slugging for an OPS of 1,047.
And of course, Nolasco walked him with 2 outs when he faced him earlier. But Jonathan Solano has come up with a lot of big hits this year as well. And so Ozzie Guillen chooses to pitch to Strasburg, who has a homer and 3 RBIs. McKeon has seen his ball club out hit the Nationals 6-1, but fail to score. So it's Nolasco and Strasburg. Good breaking ball for a strike to open the at-bat.
Oh, Andy's hitting 400th minute scoring position.
You got good speed out there at second with Espinoza. Solano's at first. How do you approach a guy like this? You know, Nolasco's fastball's at 91. He's got good sharp breaking ball. There's always the danger if you throw off speed to a pitcher, you speed the bat up.
Well, I think the way he's taking these breaking balls, he's seeing the ball pretty well. You just try to approach him as a regular hitter and make your pitches on the outside corners of the plate and not treat him as a normal pitch and just try to throw one right down the middle.
Well, Nolasco's missed with the last 2 breaking balls, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, it shows you right there that he respects his ability as a hitter with 3 straight curveballs with a guy in scoring position. Normally, you know, you get ahead of your pitcher in the lineup with a fastball and then maybe try to put him away with a breaking ball.
Two-one pitch, ground ball into right field, base hit. Up with the ball, Dobbs. Runner comes home, and the Nationals have the lead. That's an outstanding at bat by Stephen Strasburg. He took a couple breaking balls, got himself a fastball, and punched it into right field.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed with his approach at the plate, the way he is balanced, the way he's taking pitches. Look here, that front foot is down nice and early, sees the ball and just takes it the other way, right where it's pitched.
Just out of the reach of Infante. And remember, you've got Dobbs out there in right field, who is not a very experienced outfielder. And so the Nationals have just their second hit, but they have the first run. And here is Lombardozzi.
Little things, Rich. The little things.
Well, they added up for the Marlins last night. Tonight, the Marlins haven't done the little things. And the Nationals, as a result, have a 1-0 lead. Lombardozzi has bounced out and flied out. Breaking ball, ground ball. That's into right field. And Washington has a couple of runs. Some big 2-out hits. Strasburg and Lombardozzi. So a 2-0 lead. Here comes Harper. And he fouls a pitch back to the screen. The Cholula spotlight on Bryce Harper, a Las Vegas native. At 3, he was in the 6-year-old league, and of course, as the tale is told, every step up the way he was playing about 3 or 4 years older than his age in that age bracket of league. Even in high school, into junior college. After 2 years of high school, got his degree, went to junior college, got himself draft eligible at 18, and at 19 he's in the big leagues. There was no discussion from the Marlins dugout as Harper came to the plate and stepped in the box this time.
Still a mystery what went on that last at bat. And like you said, we probably won't know until tomorrow's broadcast what actually did happen.
0-2. In the air, right center field, Dobbs and Bonifacio. Dobbs is looking for Bonifacio, and Dobbs will take it and make the catch. But the Nationals with a pair of 2-out hits and a couple runs. Find your beach this summer with the Miami Marlins. Corona Light offering 31 lucky Marlin fans the chance to win 4 tickets and a $100 Marlins merchandise gift card. Visit your local participating Navarro pharmacy and look for the Corona Light display for details on how to enter and win. Relax responsibly. This has been a frustrating day so far for the Miami Marlins. Stephen Strasburg, I don't want to say he's been on the ropes, but he's been vulnerable in this ball game, yet the Marlins have been unable to take advantage, and it's Strasburg himself who opens the scoring with a 2-out RBI single, and the Nationals have a 2-0 lead with Strasburg on the mound going to the bottom of the 5th.
The Marlins have spread their hits over 4 innings, where the Nationals string together some really good 2-out hits there in that inning and end up scoring a couple runs. Marlins unable to do that with the bases loaded a couple innings ago.
Top of the order, Reyes, Infante, and Carlos Lee. Strasburg at 72 pitches, and Reyes goes after a fastball. And it's 0-2. Strasburg has been steady at 95, 96 with the fastball. His changeup in the upper 80s has been devastating. And he's mixed in a breaking ball. Wow, that's right down the middle. Center cut at 96. Reyes certainly wasn't looking for that. So an out, and here comes Omar Infante. Jeff Conine's all excited because UFC is returning to Fox on August 4th. 4 massive fights, Jeff, including knockout artists Shogun Rua taking on
my favorite,
Brandon Vera. I think Tommy prefers Brandon Vera in that match. Anyways, it's UFC Fight Night on Fox, sponsored by Bud Light, and it's live from Los Angeles, your old hometown, Saturday, August 4th at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Here's Infante. He is flied out and struck out. Strasburg with 5 strikeouts. He has not walked a hitter. Ricky Nolasco in 5 innings, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks, one of them intentional to get to Strasburg, who ended up hurting him with a single to right on a 2-1 pitch. That one just in. You heard Marty Foster turn to Davey Johnson, or it was probably Steve McCaddy, the pitching coach, to tell him where that missed. He said it was in. Ball in the dirt. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Rich, thank you very much. Steven Strasburg described himself as a chubby kid that he was when he went to college. He was 250 pounds. He said he would go to Estrada's Tacos for a big California burrito and French fry after every practice. That would change as his freshman year got going, got into great shape. There's a little chin music there for Omar Infante. And he wound up just shedding almost 25 pounds right there in the first year and became very disciplined. His pitching coach, Rusty Filter, told him that the word was he lacked mental toughness and accountability and coachability. And he turned things around there. Good for Steven Strasburg. He's now a very fit 6'4", 220, and the guys around the team will tell you he has got six-pack and then some. Forget the burritos for this guy. Rich?
Yeah, he's the real deal now, that's for sure. San Diego native. Infante at first base. And here is Carlos Lee. Logan Morrison behind him. And Lee takes a big swing and a miss. And of course his coach, Tony Gwynn at San Diego State. One of the things Strasburg said was great about playing and pitching for Gwynn is Gwynn was able to talk to him about the hitter's mentality.
I tell you what, Omar Infante got lucky right there. That ball was inches away from making contact with his face.
As it was ball 4, but Strasburg has come back and is out in front of Carlos Lee. Lee has struck out and singled. One and two.
Had trouble locating that changeup so far today. We saw him throw a couple really good ones early in the game, but as of late, he hasn't been able to throw out for strikes. It's just been basically fastball, curveball. Which, when you're throwing 96 with a curveball like that, it's pretty effective.
Lee pops it up foul. Solano is back, and it's over the screen. Nice catch.
Now, as you watch Strasburg's pitch count elevate, he's at 84 now in the 5th inning. It'll be interesting to see if they start getting some action up in their bullpen. And it's just like Gio Gonzalez last night. You're hopeful maybe to get your stud starter out of this game, but you've got a lot of studs down in that bullpen that are doing an excellent job of closing games out.
Another breaking ball. Zimmerman, a sidearm throw is wild there, and they don't get the out at first. Ryan Zimmerman has an uncanny ability to make throws when off balance. He did it earlier on the play to Hanley Ramirez, but this throw was not his best.
No, he went way submarine on that one, and that's very, very difficult to control the elevation on this. He just release point held on to it a little bit too long and made the errant throw. Another break for the Marlins.
They're going to rule a fielder's choice, but right now there is no error on Zimmerman. I guess the ruling is that the degree of difficulty of the throw was such that.
Interesting, though, that if you hit a ground ball and your base runner beats that throw to second base, you get a base hit.
I don't think they're assuming Carlos Lee would have been a shoo-in to beat that if Zimmerman straightens up and throws to first. Regardless, the Marlins have another opportunity, and they've had him throughout this ballgame. They've stranded 6. Morrison took a called third strike in a key moment in the 3rd.
Just when I say he can't get that changeup over for a strike, he does. Throws an excellent one there on the outside corner.
Morrison singled on a line drive to left in the second inning. Strasburg froze him on a 96-mile-an-hour fastball for a called third strike in the third. Morrison liner into center field, and Bernardina sliding, tumbling catch. Once again, Roger Bernardina robs the Marlins of a hit. Remember, he made the great catch on the John Buck blast, and Morrison hit it on the nose. Bernardina makes the play.
It is not as if the Marlins are not swinging the bat well today. They've got 6 hits. They've had 3 bullets robbed, 2 from Bernardina, 1 from Bryce Harper in right field on a Hanley Ramirez opposite field line drive. So they're making great contact, taking good swings off of Strasburg.
Now Hanley Ramirez. Hanley has lined to right. He hit a ground ball to the right of Zimmerman with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the third, and Zimmerman made a nice stop and a off-balance throw that found its mark at first base. Lee at first, Infante at second. Ball squirts away. Second ball that is gotten by Solano. That one looked like it was buried in the dirt. This can't be an easy guy to catch.
No. No, we've seen him bounce a couple 96-mile-an-hour fastballs. That's tough to catch right there. You see this changeup, such downward action going into the dirt. Sometimes it's unpredictable the way that ball's going to bounce off. You can do whatever you can to get in front of it and block it, but it takes a bad hop.
So the Marlins have a great opportunity here. Hanley, a swing and a miss. It's 1-2.
Shows you how remarkable it was back in the day when Florida Marlins catcher Charles Johnson went through an entire season with 0 pass balls and did not make an error, and I think until the last week of the season. He had no errors and no pass balls going into the last week of the season.
See the Marlins 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Infante breaking from third. Not sure if any of you last night saw, or maybe this morning, the highlight of the Padres-Dodgers and the commando raid on home by Everett Cabrera. Ball in the dirt with Kenley Jansen on the mound. The Dodgers had a 1-run lead. Padres had runners at second and third, and Jansen actually had 2 strikes on the hitter. Jansen walked behind the mound. Cabrera broke for the plate. Jansen's throw was high, it went to the screen, and both runs scored, and the Padres won the game by a run.
Heads up baseball. Maybe it was inspired by Bryce Harper's theft of third base on Friday night.
2-2 pitch. Hanley lines it down the right field line, but it's foul. Hanley has had some good swings against Strasburg.
He has indeed. The ball in the right center field gap on a 3-2 fastball I thought was going to get down for a hit. Bryce Harper caught up to it, made a nice catch. Hit a ball hard, as you said, to Zimmerman's right. He ends up coming up with a great play and throwing out Hanley. Good swing right there. Like I said, Hanley's been very aggressive early in the counts, taking some poor swings at balls in the dirt or curve balls that are out of the strike zone, and then as the at-bat goes along, he's taking those pitches and waiting for a better pitch to hit.
But he swings and misses at that one. And Strasburg leaves 2 more. The Marlins have left 8 and trail it 2-0. Headed to the 6th in Miami. Frustrations mount for the Marlins. They leave 2 more on base with an opportunity in the bottom of the 5th. Ricky Nolasco trying to get back into his groove. He's got Ryan Zimmerman, Adam LaRoche, and Michael Morse, the teeth of the Nationals order. Zimmerman has been quiet. He's 0 for 2. The damage done by Steven Strasburg and Steve Lombardozzi. They both had 2-out RBI singles in the 5th. Zimmerman takes a strike.
Those opportunities the Marlins have had today are good opportunities. We saw a lot of opportunities in the month of June where they would start something with 2 outs. Well, you know, 2-out rally is tough to sustain, but today's opportunities, they've had guys on base, multiple guys on base with less than 2 outs.
Nolasco did not give up a hit until Morse's leadoff single in the 5th. And a fastball for a strike. It's 1-2. Zimmerman goes down and gets that one and rips it into left field, just out of the reach of Hanley Ramirez. So a leadoff single for the Nationals here in the 6th. Next Corona Light Marlins watch parties coming up on Wednesday. The Stormtroopers will not be at Hooters in Coral Gables, but you can. That's Wednesday the 18th. Marlins and Cubs at 8:05. Prizes, Billy, Energy Team, Corona and Corona Light specials. The Marlins watch party on the 18th. Hooters in Coral Gables. Marlins and Nationals here in the top of the 6th. The Braves and the Mets are in the bottom of the 5th in a scoreless ball game. It's a Johan Santana start. There's a liner to right. Dobbs has to play it on a hop, and LaRoche backs up Zimmerman's single with a hit of his own. And all of a sudden, the Nationals' swings against Nolasco have improved dramatically. They had 3 hits in the 5th. They've got 2 to open the 6th.
Well, his location on some of these pitches has decreased dramatically. That's a ball up and over the middle of the strike zone. Adam LaRoche, so far this series, has been jumping on first pitches that are in the strike zone and squaring him up very well.
And here is Morse, who is lined to center and has singled. He may have had the best swings of the day against Nolasco. Of note, in that Mets-Braves game, Johan Santana is pitching. The starter for the Braves is Ben Sheets. And he's gone 5 innings, hasn't given up a run, just 2 hits, and he has struck out 4.
The Ben Sheets, like from the Milwaukee Brewer days?
The Ben Sheets.
Wow.
They signed him. He had a major surgery, I believe, in 2010. Braves signed him to a minor league deal, let him go down to the minors and pitch, and here he is. And if that's what they get out of Ben Sheets, then that's something. Wade LeBlanc is in the bullpen. Nolasco's 0-2 on Morse. Fastball just missed in, and you could see Morse leaning out, waiting for that breaking ball.
Just an inning ago, we were looking at the scoreboard, and it was Marlins 6, Nationals 0 as far as hits are concerned. Now it's 6-5. Just an inning later.
Ground ball up the middle. Reyes dives and can't get it. It's into center, and here comes Zimmerman in to score. 3 consecutive hits and a 3-0 lead for the Washington Nationals. Michael Morse makes it 3-0.
Didn't particularly hit this ball that well. Hit it hard enough on the ground. Got it out of Jose Reyes' reach. Couldn't get it with a dive. But that's how you put up your crooked numbers, as you put multiple hits together. And they've done it 2 innings in a row now, 3 hits in a row.
And so now the hits are even at 6 apiece, but as you pointed out, they've been bunched for the Nationals. They've been spread out for the Marlins. And Nolasco against the switch hitting middle infielder Danny Espinosa, who's at short today with Ian Desmond getting the day off. If Davey Johnson tries to push the runners up, he did shorten, but he takes in. And the ball gets by John Buck. The Nationals don't even need to lay down a bunt, and they move everybody up.
Looked like John Buck was coming up to try to possibly make a backdoor throw down to second base. Unfortunate move there. Moves the runners up without even having to give up an out for a sac bunt.
And the Marlins have to bring the infield in. As it is, Espinosa ahead in the count, 2-0. And Nolasco misses. It's 3-0. Now this ball game is teetering on the Nationals breaking it open, especially with the way Strasburg has pitched and as good as the Nationals bullpen has been this year. Green light on 3-0. And he missed the fastball. You know, the Cubs all of a sudden are hot. Darwin Barney with a home run and a 3-0 lead over Arizona. The Cubs have won 3 straight, even though they're deep in the cellar in the National League Central. 14 games back with Houston behind them, 16.5 games behind the Reds and the Pirates. And the Marlins on their upcoming road trip will stop in Chicago to see the Cubs and then go see the Andrew McCutchen show for 3 games in Pittsburgh. He has been just fabulous this year.
What a year he's having.
Offensively and defensively. Ricky has battled back, and the count now 3-2. Stays at 3-2. The Phillies and the Rockies getting ready to go. Phillies see the youngster Drew Pomeranz. And Cole Hamels is on the mound for the Phillies. Phillies winners last night, snapping that losing streak. Three-two pitch in the air to right. Dobbs is over, and he makes the catch. Both runners are on the move. Morse on his way to third. And the Nationals get another run. They move a runner up, and that's the importance of keeping the runners at first and second in that spot.
Good base running. Good clutch hitting right there. You know, on a second and third, nobody out situation, you want to get a ground ball to second base to move them over and get them in, or a fly ball like that that does the exact same thing.
And so the Nationals, who had a duel going between Nolasco and Strasburg, get to Nolasco first and knock him out of the ball game. Ricky leaves here in the 6th with 1 out. Wade LeBlanc out of the bullpen. 4-0 Washington. Washington on top of Miami. A Steven Strasburg, Ricky Nolasco matchup has turned into Steven Strasburg, Wade LeBlanc. The versatile lefty has pitched well since joining the ball club. And LeBlanc will deal with Roger Bernardina, who has been a pain in the neck for the Marlins in this one. Not just, well, not really with his bat, but with his glove. He's made 2 terrific catches. And so Bernardina stands in. Infield is in. Bernardina is a good bunter, and you've got Morse at third with 1 out. So keep that in mind with the infield in.
Be interesting to see if the Nationals score another run here or extend their lead a little bit to see if Strasburg stays in this game. You know, there's been so much talk about limiting his innings this year. He's already at 94 pitches today, and I would think with a 5-run lead in their bullpen, they probably feel pretty comfortable about getting him out of this game. But nobody currently warming up in the Nationals bullpen.
For the Marlins, they're just trying to get out of this inning right now. 2 in the 5th and 2 here in the 6th, and 1 more waiting. Saw Bo Porter whispering to Morse. He's running. It's the squeeze, and Bernardina missed the sign. He swings, and Morse is tagged out. The mechanics of that is the third base coach will deliver the sign to the hitter and then give a verbal sign to the runner.
And as you said, he went over there and whispered to Morse. I'm sure he said he's bunting right here, and as a runner, you start your ascent on home plate and that guy is not bunting. It's a scary thought.
Bernardina to right field. Dobbs is going back, and at the track he makes the catch. So LeBlanc gets out of the inning, but the Nationals have stretched their lead 4-0. Something with the Coors Light Freeze Cam. Ah, yeah, Roger Bernardino. We told you about the damage he's done with the glove. This was against John Buck. See, Bonifacio was in scoring position. Made the catch and kept Bonifacio at second. That the Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frostbrew Coors Light. He also snagged a liner off the bat of Logan Morrison with 2 runners on and 1 out in the 5th. So good pitching and good defense have kept the Marlins off the board, and an inability for the Marlins to get a hit when they've needed it. But as you saw with that catch by Bernardino and the ball that Morrison hit, it's not for the lack of trying in some cases. They hit the ball hard. But Roger Bernardino is a guy that he could really go get him.
He's made some highlight reel catches just against the Marlins.
Dobbs now has singled and bounced out.
Strasburg at 94 pitches through 5. 119 is his high on the year.
Nationals bullpen is starting to move a bit. Guys are milling about, but nobody has started the routine of throwing. Got 6, 7, 8 coming up. Dobbs, Bonifacio, Buck. And then the pitcher spot. Another broken bat for Dobbs. And so he lines to the shortstop. And up comes Emilio Bonifacio. Keith Bell in the Marlins pen, as Ozzie Guillen said. Would he like Bell to be his closer? Yes. But he said Bell's going to have to earn his way back and show that he's sharp before Ozzie runs him out there. And this is the type of situation where you can bring a guy in for an inning and hope that he is sharp, or get a gauge on how sharp he is.
It's a good time for Heath Bell to work on those things that have given him trouble so far this season. With the breaking ball, he's been very inconsistent in the strike zone with the breaking ball. Location on the fastball, when that pitch isn't working, is obviously more critical. So when he comes in now, he can really try and focus on those things without the pressure of being in a safe situation.
And Strasburg now very quickly has 2 outs. Here's Buck.
Only 4 pitches needed for those 2 outs, so now he's at 98.
Austin Kearns is on deck. If Strasburg gets Buck, be interested to see if the Marlins go to Bell, which they might. Got the bottom of the order coming up, or if they try to squeeze another inning out of LeBlanc. Ball and a strike here. Strasburg trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. But it's not as if he pitched horribly in those 3 games. He gave up a total of 8 runs in the 3 starts. Losses on the road at Colorado and Atlanta, and a loss at home against the Rockies. Buck sends it fouling out of play. Right now in Atlanta, the Braves with a big inning against Johan Santana. 6 runs in the 5th, and Ben Sheets has a 2-hit shutout through 6, and it's 6-0 Braves.
How old is Ben Sheets?
How old is Ben Sheets? All right, we're going to effort, though you never want to go out on a limb and say you can get it with 2 strikes and 2 outs, but the crack staff says 33. Steven Strasburg, on the other hand, is 23. And he dots the outside corner. Buck thought it was out. Marty Foster rung him up. 4-0 Washington. In left field, Jam Alexis presents the game reset. Steven Strasburg, Ricky Nolasco, 0s through 4. Then the Nationals broke through with 2 in the 5th. They got 2 in the 6th. The Marlins 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They've left 8 on base. And Strasburg has punched out 7. We were wondering whether the Marlins would go with Heath Bell or Wade LeBlanc if Strasburg went 1-2-3 through the fish in the 6th. And it's LeBlanc. Bell has stopped throwing in the bullpen and possibly would come in later in the ball game. Jonathan Solano is up, and Solano takes a strike. Jonathan intentionally walked in the 5th, and that was a key moment. Grounder out to Reyes. Fires to first in time because the Marlins intentionally walked Solano to get to Strasburg, and Strasburg hurt him with an RBI single. Your chance to play catch with Logan Morrison. Just log on to JiffyLubeCatch.com. 2 lucky winners will be selected to play catch on the field with Morrison prior to the July 27th game. Jiffy Lube, the official oil change of the Miami Marlins. LeBlanc now facing Mark DeRosa, which means that Steven Strasburg's day is done. An impressive day. Though the Marlins had their opportunities against the right-hander. 6 innings, 6 hits, a walk, 7 strikeouts. Ryan Matthews in the pen.
1 for 10 with men in scoring position today. The Marlins definitely had their opportunities in the first 4 innings of this game. Strasburg kind of settled down, pitched more effectively the last couple, but you start putting together the Marlins offensive numbers. You know, they're 15th in the National League in average, 14th in runs scored, and hitting .230 as a team and with men in scoring position. That's tough to get on a hot streak when you're performing like that.
Unless you have a lights out rotation and a lights out bullpen, and I don't know too many teams in the big leagues that do. The Nationals are close to that, but the Nationals also score runs.
Well, they're 10th in runs scored and 8th in average, kind of middle of the pack type team. But when you couple that with the fact that their pitching staff and their bullpen just very thin on giving up runs.
Now Lombardozzi, the top of the order. After the Strasburg hit, Lombardozzi drove in a run. And those were the first two of the ball game. Lombardozzi, one of those switch hitters that wears the ear flap on both sides of his helmet. A little pop up into right field. Shane Victorino, another one of those switch hitters that does that. Some switch hitters have two helmets. One with the ear flap on the right, one with the ear flap on the left. Two hits for Lombardozzi, and here comes Bryce Harper. One of the other side notes of this ball game was the interaction between Ozzie Guillen and home plate umpire Marty Foster, and it seemed to surround Bryce Harper when he came to the plate early in the ball game. Lines it to center. Bonifacio there, and he makes the catch. Harper an 0 for 4 in this one. 7th inning stretch. 4-0 Washington. It's brought to you by Supercuts. Bernardina is off of Giancarlo Stanton back when he was Mike, and that may have been the catch of the year. And today, robbing John Buck, saving a run. Bonifacio was at second, and then with 2 on, Morrison hit that ball, and Bernardina kind of a slip and slide move as he makes the catch. So, along with Star Wars characters, you've had some timely hitting by the Nationals. Strasburg on the mound. Good defense behind him. And after the good defense, the Marlins just can't get a hit with a runner in scoring position.
You see the 2 runs in the 5th, 2 runs in the 6th. They got 6 hits in those 2 innings, 3 in each. When you string together hits like that, you're going to put up crooked numbers.
Brian Matthews takes over for Strasburg. Strasburg, the 6 innings, the 6 hits, a walk, and 7 strikeouts.
Once again, we see a reliever come in from the Washington Nationals bullpen with a sub-2 ERA. Ryan Matthews having a great year, 1.78. To go along with Burnett, Clippard, Gonzalez, and Stammen, all at sub-2 ERAs.
And of course, they've got Drew Storen, who is due to come off the disabled list, they hope, in a week or so. Their closer, after he had loose bodies removed from his elbow.
Waiting in the wings to get better.
Curious to know if his loose bodies are similar to those of Giancarlo Stanton's loose bodies. Stanton's might be bigger and stronger, but Storen is a top-of-the-line closer, and for a bullpen that already has depth, he's gonna
That's just not going to be fair.
No, everybody slides down a roll when Storen comes back. Scott Cousins gets the at-bat. This is the 9 spot in the Marlins order. Cousins, Reyes, Infante against Matthews. And that one almost hit Cousins. The count's 1 ball and 1 strike. Tomorrow night, and yes, it's tomorrow night that this series closes. It's a 4-game wraparound series, which starts on Friday, ends on Monday. Not all that common in baseball, but there are some.
You're speaking of loose bodies and Giancarlo Stanton. I saw him walk in the clubhouse today, and he was walking pretty normally. Things are going well with his post-surgery rehab, and hopefully we'll get him back on the short end of that 4 to 6 week window that they put on him after surgery was over.
Cousins going after that sharp breaking ball, strikes out. Here comes Reyes. Speaking of injuries, the news not so good for Juan Carlos Oviedo, who has returned to Miami with discomfort in his elbow. So a bit of a setback for Oviedo. He will be examined here in Miami.
The Marlins were anxiously waiting his return to hopefully get a little bit of a boost in their bullpen. Get a fresh arm in there that I'm sure JC's rearing and ready to pitch, but unfortunately it's in a game in New Orleans in AAA and experienced some discomfort. Hopefully it's nothing too serious.
The other note medically for the Marlins is Edward Mujica's return, which was to be today, has been pushed back another day or two. The Marlins want to make sure that he can run and field his position after that fractured toe. Three and one.
And injury-wise, when they give a window of when they're going to be back playing, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to step right up to a major league field and start contributing.
Reyes is out number 2, and Matthews is making quick work of the Marlins in the 7th. Here comes Omar Infante. And I think as people look at some of the surprise teams in baseball, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Washington, and ask the question, are they going to be able to hang in there in the second half? Obviously, the Marlins know more about the Nationals than the other 2 teams. They'll see the Pirates on this road trip. But the answer to me is yes, because of the rotation and the bullpen. And the Nationals have done it and have suffered some pretty big injuries. I mean, Drew Storen, their closer, we talked about him. Jason Worth, Wilson Ramos, Morse had been out for almost a couple months to start the year.
Yeah, you're talking major contributors to their offense last year, especially Morse. But as the old saying goes, good pitching will beat good hitting most every night.
Two and two. Ryan Matthews, Sacramento City College, out of Elk Grove, California. It's a suburb of Sacramento. Breaking ball, Infante In the air, left center. Bernardina gets everything he can get to, and he gets to that and makes the catch. And Matthews a 1-2-3 7th. Nationals bullpen quite solid so far. The cold hard fact, aside from the score for the Marlins, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Nationals 22-12 in his 34 career starts. That's the other thing about Strasburg. This is just his 35th career start. And he's pitched in his career a total of 198 innings. He has 251 strikeouts in those 198 innings. And here is Heath Bell.
Trying to get back on track. You've heard Ozzie say a number of times we need Heath Bell at the back end of this bullpen to be successful. He's been up and down. He did go through quite a stretch there. I think it was 14 appearances. He did not give up a run. Had 9 saves, I believe. But the bookend of that great run has been the problem so far for Heath Bell.
And he throws a strike to Ryan Zimmerman with Adam LaRoche and Michael Morse behind him. For Bell, this is his 41st appearance. And along with the blown saves and the lost leads, one of the real alarming facts is that in 10 of his appearances, he has given up multiple runs, more than one run. Quickly, he's 0-2 against Zimmerman. He gets LaRoche and then Morse in the Nationals' 8th inning. In the air, Lee with Buck, and it's Lee who makes the catch. So an out here in the 8th.
I think a lot of it has to do with Heath Bell's location. He's not a sinker ball pitcher. He doesn't have a tremendous amount of movement on his fastball, although velocity's been very good, 95, 96 miles an hour. But when you have a straight fastball and you're missing over the middle of the plate, and I think the hitters are kind of discounting his breaking ball, they're really sitting on that fastball and taking really good swings at it.
There's the breaking ball that misses outside. Oftentimes, it is said that for closers to come into a game like this, in a spot like this, where the game is not really in the balance, it's hard for them to simulate the adrenaline. But you would think with Bell having something to prove, that's enough adrenaline here. Bonifacio is going to have to go a long ways, and he does. Tracks it down right on the warning track. Nice to have Bonifacio's speed back in center field, especially in this ballpark.
Indeed. And Adam LaRoche is not happy about this new ballpark here either. Last night in the 9th inning off Steve Cishek, he hit a ball right to the wall at the 386 marker opposite field that probably would have been out of Nationals Park
And that one might have had a chance as well to get out of right field in Nationals Park.
Now Michael Morse. Morse has had the best at-bats of the day for the Nationals. He lined to center. A nice running catch by Bonifacio. Singled in the 5th, RBI single in the 6th. And he cracks one up the middle. Infante backhand in one motion. He got it to first before Lee was at first base. Carlos caught the ball, turned, and touched the base. That's how nice that play was by Infante. Zambrano. They meet tomorrow. A pair of veteran right-handers. Jackson at 5-4. Zambrano at 4-7. 6:30 for Marlins Live. Then it's on to Chicago. Marlins to visit the Cubs. Marlins will see Travis Wood, Jeff Samardzija, and Paul Maholm. They will miss Ryan Dempster and Matt Garza, two guys who a lot of scouts are following for teams that might need a starting pitcher down the stretch. Carlos Lee now. Breaking ball from Matthews for a strike. And it's 1-1. Lee has singled in 3 appearances.
Probably have heard Matt Garza's name tossed around the last few years more than anyone's, off season and at the trade deadline at the end of July.
The Phillies are going to get a pitcher back on Tuesday with a pretty good pedigree. Roy Halladay will be activated for a start on Tuesday.
Well, he's been out for a long time, hasn't he?
It seems that way. Dodgers had to scratch Chad Billingsley with pain in his elbow, which could be a blow to the Dodgers as they battle the Giants. San Francisco finally getting a nice start from Tim Lincecum.
One of the big mysteries of, I think, this season is the inability for Lincecum to string together a bunch of good starts.
Lee sends that ball to right center. Harper calls for it and makes the catch. Marlins Live presented by Checkers. After the ball game, Craig Minervini, Preston Wilson. Davey Johnson is going to make a pitching change here. Sean Burnett is coming in, and he's also going to make a double switch with looks like Rick Ankiel to center with Bernardino moving to left. All that coming with 1 out in the 8th. And we'll step aside in Miami, 4-0 Washington. And Keel, Port St. Lucie product. He's a Florida guy we missed the other night when we listed all the Florida connections for the Nationals. He's in center. Roger Bernardina takes his highlight film self over to left field. And here is Sean Burnett, the pride of Wellington. And digging in is Logan Morrison.
I was thinking that if you're a center fielder with great speed, this has got to be your ultimate ballpark because of all the ground you get to cover out there and make these highlight reel catches like Bernardine has been doing to the Marlins this series.
And it's almost even more so than Coors Field. In terms of spaciousness, Coors Field and Marlins Park are pretty darn close. But at least in Coors Field, the grass is thick, and a ball hit in the gap on the ground or a liner will slow down. That's not the case here, so the speed is maybe more important here because you've got to cut balls off in the gap more so than at Coors Field. Outfield at Coors Field, and we could ask Preston Wilson that. Generally is pretty thick and not as fast. Ball in the dirt, and Morrison went after it. If you could pick a center fielder from Marlins past and put him in this ballpark, I think it's a pretty easy question to answer now that I asked it. Who would you pick? Would it be a Devon White?
Devon White was pretty darn good. I mean, he's one of the best I've seen at, how you talk about instincts in the outfield. He could put his head down and run to a spot and then turn around. There's the ball. He was one of the best and smoothest outfielders I've seen doing that. JP could go get him a little bit too.
JP could go get him, but in this ballpark, throwing people out would be an issue. It was an issue in the old park too.
Didn't have quite the arm strength. Devo had a strong arm, and the amount of ground he covered per stride was probably more than any big leaguer I've ever seen.
Three and 0. Marlins have always preached, at least as long as I've been here, since 2005. Larry Beinfest has preached, and it was evident in 2003. Speed and defense, and this ballpark magnifies that.
It certainly does, especially in the outfield. Speed is so important because you see where these outfielders are playing. Bernardino is playing very deep, and you look at the distance between him and the back of the shortstop. I mean, that's an enormous amount of grass that has to be covered, and that's why we see so many balls at this ballpark. Bloopers get in for base hits.
Nice play by Espinoza on the move. And the bullpen for the Nationals has retired all 6 that they have faced. Lead. If you like to eat at the ballpark and drink at the ballpark, it's never been easier to do. Just download the free MLB.com at the ballpark app for iPhone or Android phone. Select Marlins Park, place your order. Look at that. He wanted to see what the sculpture did because he hasn't seen a home run yet. Back to our regularly scheduled drop-in. You'll receive text messages when your order is ready. Go to Marlins.com and download at the ballpark app now. I know I'm not supposed to look at the screen while I read these, but sometimes you get distracted. Mike Dunn takes over for Heath Bell. Bell worked a scoreless and sharp 8th inning. Dunn gets the 9th. Well, to be quite honest about this ball game, the Nationals' ability to get hits with runners in scoring position. In fact, they got 2 with 2 outs in the 5th inning. The difference in the ball game, and the Marlins have stranded 8. Had their opportunities early against Strasburg. Espinoza's fly ball is deep to center. Bonifacio on the run, and he makes the catch.
This is where Bonnie's improved so much as a center fielder. You saw as soon as Espinoza hit this ball, he turned and started running and realized that it was so high up in the air that I will be able to find this ball. Watch him turn and run. He's not even, didn't even have his eyes on the balls there for a few steps while he gets up to full speed, turns his head around and tracks that ball all the way down into his glove.
Is there truth to the baseball adage that infielders who go to the outfield, if you've played a middle infield position, then center field is not as big a jump as if you were a corner infielder, and that playing up the middle helps you in center field?
Absolutely. Center field is the easiest of the 3 outfield positions to play, simply because you have no lights that will ever give you problems on line drives. You have the extreme spin that an opposite field hit has going toward the lines, either a right-hander in right field or a left-hander in left. And you can see the track of the ball the whole way off the bat. So center field is a much easier position to play, although you need some speed.
You probably have to have more athleticism in center than you do in the corners.
Yeah, you need to be able to run.
Infante fires to first, and Mike Dunn, a very nice tidy night. Marlins down to their last swings, 4-0. Florida, brought to you by the Hyundai Fuel Efficiency Drive Sales Event. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Checkers, feast on. And by Bluebell Creameries, try our newest flavor, strawberry summer pie. 4-0 right now. The Nationals carrying a shutout into the bottom of the ninth. Steven Strasburg went 6 innings. Ryan Matthews an inning and a third. Sean Burnett 2/3 of an inning. And Tyler Clippard is next out of the bullpen on a frustrating afternoon for the Marlins. We've talked throughout the series about the great rotation and a real good bullpen that the Nationals have. There's the ERA, 3.07. Marlins get to Pittsburgh, where they will run into the Pirates bullpen.
Pittsburgh, reason they're in first place right now. They're second in the league in bullpen ERA and fourth in the league in starters ERA. Or overall ERA, 3.52 for Pittsburgh as a team. A.J. Burnett having an outstanding year for Pittsburgh.
James McDonald, Eric Bedard.
Played with Bedard in Baltimore. Kind of phenomenal stuff, but often injured guy. But when he's on the mound, he's pretty spectacular.
Pirates took a chance on him that he would be healthy this year, and it really has paid off. And don't forget Andrew McCutchen.
Oh yeah, that guy is decent.
Those in Fort Meade, Florida, would agree with you. His hometown. Greg Dobbs, Emilio Bonifacio, and then John Buck against Clippard. And Clippard fires a strike to Dobbs. 1 for 3 is Dobbs. Strasburg struck out 7, adding to his National League lead, 135 strikeouts. The Major League lead, Felix Hernandez. King Felix struck out 12 Texas Rangers. That's a very good offensive team, and Felix dominated them last night. He punched out 12, so he's at 140.
That was last night's game, 140. Wow.
Justin Verlander, second in the American League.
Tyler Clippard, if he was to be a starter and pitch against the Marlins all the time, he'd be up there as well.
That's right. We visited those numbers when Clippard appeared, as he seemingly always does. Though he didn't pitch last night, he did pitch Friday night. And his career numbers against the Marlins, his ERA is now under 0.60. That's down to 0.58 in 25 games. But Dobbs cracks a hit to center field. Ankiel up with it.
Those numbers kind of look like Mariano Rivera's postseason numbers without the saves.
Tyler Clippard would like to pitch in the postseason. He was a Yankee at one point. Didn't he earn the nickname the Yankee Clippard?
Oh, I guess that's a slam dunk, huh?
Bonifacio has doubled, flied out twice. And Bonifacio shortens the bunt, takes a fastball up. Was I right on that?
You were absolutely right. Pitched with the Yankees briefly in 2007. 3-1 with a 6.33 ERA. Went to Washington the next season, 2008.
One of the oddities of Bonifacio's season statistically, for Emilio, he has 158 at bats. His double in the fourth, his second of the year, just his second. He has 3 triples, but now 2 doubles.
And you would think that if, with the type of speed he possesses, that he would have a lot of doubles.
He had 26 of them last year. And 7 triples. And it's 3-0 now. All you can ask if you're the Marlins is to get the tying run to the plate and then see what happens from there. You've got Buck in the 8th spot, and then a pinch hitter in the pitcher's spot. Ruggiano, Solano, Kearns, Hayes available.
And concentrate on, stringing those hits together. Singles are fine. Just get base runners. We need base runners right now.
Bonifacio walks. A single by Dobbs, a walk to Bonifacio. And this is not the Clippard the Marlins are used to seeing. Steve McCaddy trudges out to the mound. And now you've got Buck with Ruggiano on deck. Nationals got their 4 runs bunched in the middle of the game against Ricky Nolasco. Strasburg wobbled a bit, but the Marlins couldn't score against him. He went 6 innings. Washington's bullpen, as usual, stellar since then. But here in the 9th, Tyler Clippard, who has been outstanding in the absence of closer Drew Storen, has a couple runners on, and here is Buck. Ball 1.
Well, this is the time to be very patient with Tyler Clippard. It seems like he's having command control right now. You got a couple of guys on, nobody out. Make him throw some pitches and make sure he can get one in the strike zone.
(2-0). And for some reason, Clippard hasn't thrown a fastball to Buck.
Yeah, it's a odd choice of pitches, a 1-0 changeup. after you're having trouble locating any of your pitches. I think fastball is your easiest that you're going to locate.
Especially with a 4-run lead and the tying run on deck. See what he gets. 2-0. Another changeup. Clippard puts his hands up, and the home plate umpire Marty Foster comes out and tells him to cool it.
And that would usually prompt a meeting from your pitching coach, but since he already went out, he can't go out again.
And the Nationals bullpen, no one's throwing yet.
But as you saw in Fox Tracks, he had a legitimate beef.
3-0 pitch. It's down low, he walked him. And the bags are loaded, and the Marlins have the tying run coming to the plate. And it's Justin Ruggiano.
Rich, you're talking about earlier, you know, when Heath Bell comes into that game and it is not a save situation. Is there a letdown in adrenaline? Is there a letdown in focus? Well, Tyler Clippard has been the Nationals closer in the absence of Bruce Doran, and he came in a non-save situation.
And so on a day of frustrations for Miami, they get to the bottom of the ninth and bring the tying run to the plate, and it's Justin Ruggiano, who did not get the start. A rare day off for a guy that has had a terrific month and a half in the big leagues. Clippard ready. Right down the middle with a fastball. And it's a mystery as to why he didn't start John Buckoff with a fastball. He threw 2 breaking balls, actually 3 breaking balls.
3 changeups. It was like.
And missed and fell behind 3-0. Since the 1st of June, Andrew McCutchen, Neil Walker, you see the names on that list. Ruggiano there as well. And he went after an off-speed pitch. And it's 0-2. Dobbs opened the inning with a single. Bonifacio walked. Buck walked.
I know people at home might be saying, oh, why don't you swing at that first fastball that came right into you? But when a pitcher's struggling like this, you got to make sure that you're not going after a bad pitch and taking a swing you don't want to take.
0-2. He got the changeup and he got a piece of it. Miami is 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Those are the season numbers for Ruggiano.
He's got excellent arm speed on this changeup, but it's very difficult to stay back. You saw Justin Ruggiano looked like he waited forever, swung, and was still way out in front.
Outfield playing him to right center. Clippard ready. 0-2. He brought the fastball and he missed up with it. "30 years old, 4 years in AAA with the Rays, putting up good numbers, but stuck behind the Uptons, the Crawfords, Desmond Jennings, getting a chance and taking advantage of it here. Another changeup, and that time a little better swing.
A little better swing. Still, that's, you know, a 94 up in your eyes fastball with a good changeup with that kind of arm speed, that kind of arm action. You know, there's a reason that Tyler Clippard is a sub 1.5 ERA. I mean, he's got really good stuff, and that changeup is an excellent pitch.
What a luxury to have for the Nationals. A deep and talented bullpen with their closer Drew Storen coming close to coming off the DL. Another 1-2 coming to Ruggiano. Little better swing. So he's seen 3 consecutive changeups. One he got just a little piece of, the other little more of, and this one he was out in front of.
And you can tell he's just not able to pick anything up from his delivery. Sometimes when you see multiple pitches from a pitcher, you're able to pick up a little bit of something that will alert you that it's coming, and this one is just he's not picking anything up.
Bases filled with Marlins. Nobody out. Bottom of the ninth. Another 1-2. Fastball. He threw it by him. 93. And so Clippard said enough of the changeups. He brought the heat and strikes out Ruggiano.
So now it's in his head. He's thinking changeup possibly, or I gotta be able to stay back on that changeup. When your mentality goes changeup, you cannot catch up to a 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
Now Reyes. Reyes has singled in 4 at-bats. Changeup popped up, and the catcher Solano makes the catch. Wow. 2 outs. And here comes Infante. Infante is 0 for 3. So the Marlins are now 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position in this ballgame. It was something that plagued them through the first 2 months of the year. Not so much from mid-June on. A strike. And it's 0-1 to Infante. Marlins load the bases here in the ninth, down 4-0. But Clippard has come back to strike out Ruggiano. Reyes popped out. 0-1 to Infante. In the air, right field line. Harper is there. Collision. The ball is caught. I think Harper has it, but Lombardozzi and Harper collide. And the game is over. Wow, scary moment for the Nationals. It's in foul territory. And you see the ball in Harper's glove. And the out call.
Tyler Clippard gets out of a bases loaded, nobody out situation.
And the Marlins leave them loaded in the ninth. Boy, a frustrating day, and the finish more of the same.